Hey everybody, and welcome to another video as we're going to look at TinkerCAD and making 3D design. Our first video we looked at shapes and looked a little bit at TinkerCAD and got an idea of the name tag that we're going to try to make together. So I'm going to go to TinkerCAD.com. TinkerCAD.com is a free website. It will allow us to assign in. We can use your Gmail account. I'm going to click on my Gmail account. I'm actually going to use this account down here. It's the one that I have. You can use your Redeemer account. You're going to be asked a few questions, so we're going to click on the I accept, and I'm going to continue. And then we get into TinkerCAD for the first time. We're going to get this, which is a lesson or a tutorial that it'll allow us to do. We can either continue on, but we don't need this tutorial. We're actually going to do one together. So I'm going to close this. And when I close this, I get just to this basic page where I have my designs. And I'm going to click on Create New Design. And remember, at any time, if you need to, you can pause the video and rewind and go back. The first thing I want to do when I get into design is I want to name this. It gives you just a fun little name. Right now, I am Daring Fulfi, and I'm just going to call this Harry's name tag, and I'm going to do it 2020 because I think I have another one from years before, and I'm going to enter on that. So I've got my name tag name. We need that for later, so we know to print them off. And actually create them. We know who they are, who's there. A couple of things I want us to look at. We've got our toolbox and stuff on the side here. We've got different shapes, and we've got all kinds of different shapes. So we can go basic shapes, we can do characters, we can do connectors, lots of things here that we can do, lots and lots. I'm going to go back up to basic shapes. We've also got text and numbers, so if you wanted individual letters, you can do that, individual numbers. We have a text box tool or a text tool. I'm going to go back to basic shapes. You'll see here I have a box. Remember we talked about 3D shapes rather than 2D shapes, so it's a box, not a square or a rectangle. And I'll try to do my best to actually say the 3D shape rather than the 2D shape. We have cylinders, we have scribbles, we have spheres, we have all kinds of shapes that we can include into it. If you click and drag your right mouse button, you can drag your working plane. You can drag that anywhere you want. And that's sometimes really helpful to make sure that things are actually on our working plane and not below it or above it. To see how things line up, perhaps you want a different view of something, and we'll do that as we design. The home orientation for it is always when you can see work plane. So if I get this thing so turned upside down and I'm like, I can't remember how to get back, I've got a home button right here where I can click on it and always takes me back. We've got some other tools here on the side. We can also use our scroll button on our mouse, and we can zoom in on things when we want to. So we have a ruler up here. We're not going to use the ruler for today, but if you want to explore it at another time, you can explore that. But we're going to make our name tag. So we're going to start by dragging a box onto it. And we're going to change some of the dimensions, and we can see that it's a 3D box. And if I drag around, now I could use these tools to change the size of it, but I prefer to use these little anchor boxes. So if I click and select one of my shapes, and I click on or move my mouse over to one of these boxes, I can go into here and I can change the size to be exactly what I want. I want to leave this one at 20. I want to change this one to 40, and I also want to change the height. And again, so I'm going to use the white little anchor box at the top. I don't want to use this triangle yet, and I don't want to use these yet. These allow you to rotate things, but they can get a little bit messy if you rotate things incorrectly. So maybe that size back. The height I want to be 3, so we should have a fairly flat box, and this flat box is 20 by 40 by 3. You might want to pause the video, maybe rewind if you have to, or go back, and make sure you have that first shape. Our next shape that we're going to add is a cylinder. It's going to be the rounded part of that name tag. The cylinder by default is 20 by 20, so we've already got the width and the length for it. And we want to change the height to also be 3. So it's also 3. You can see that they are the same height. Now I can change the color of this. I don't want to make it red because I want to combine those and make sure they work. I can change it to any color, but again, this is just for my design view. It does not what color it actually gets made in. I want to zoom in a little bit because now I want to be precise. I can move this around, and I want to move this so that it is halfway into our box. So our cylinder should be in our box. We can generally tell that when we see this area get a little blurry with the two colors. Because these are where they need to be, I want to combine them. So I'm going to drag a box around here, which will just select both shapes. And I'm going to go up here, and I want to group that. When it's grouped, it becomes one color, and you can see that now we have the basic outline of our name tag. If you want to watch that one again, just pause, rewind a little bit, and you can go back into it. So we also said we were going to put kind of a hole right about here. We have this box here that's a hole, so we're going to drag it on. And again, any shape can be made into a hole. Our dimensions for this one are going to be a little bit different. I'd like this to be, let's try 36 long, 36 wide, I think it is. This one, let me move it so we can see a little bit better. This one, I would like to be 16, and our height, I want to be 2. So we have a shape that's a hole. It is 36, so it's 36 by 16 by 2. If you were to look at them, you would say, you could see that the red shape is a little bit higher, a little bit taller than the other shape. Now remember earlier I said don't touch the triangle. Well, we're going to touch the triangle now. Oh, let me get back. Sometimes you can see how easy it is to just drag something without even realizing you're dragging it. Now, this triangle will lift it off of the working plane. Now, this is a tricky step. We want to move it up just 1. So see here, it was on the plane. Here it is just 1. I can drag it way up, and you can see that it is off of the working plane. And sometimes you do want to hold that big because you're going to put it into another shape. I want to bring this down. Make sure I get it back at the right spot. And yeah, I can see I'm at 0. Actually, I can see that I think I'm below my working plane. And here's where sometimes mistakes happen. We get it below the working plane. And then it won't print or we can't do anything with it. So let's bring it back up. I will continue to bring it back up, and I will try to get this to the right spot. And we are up 1 now, so that's good. I'm going to drag this into our shape, and I still don't think I'm in the right spot. Nope, I need to drag it up 1 more. And then hopefully I can see that here I'm up 1. Good. We're going to drag this into here. And again, I want to get a better view so I can look at it from above. I'm going to try to center that. We can see that once it starts to shade, it looks like it's in the right spot. And now we're going to combine it again. So we're going to highlight everything. We're going to group it. And you can see we've got a cutout there. I want to go through that entire step 1 more time. So I'm going to start right with a new hole, just so we can see it again. We say we made this 36. We made this one 16. We made our height 2, and we raised this up 1. And now we can come in here, we can put it where we want it to be. We can move it around so it's exactly where I want it to be. If that's where I want it to be, I now want to group it. I want to click on the grouping button, and we can see, and if we were to zoom in, we can see that we have a cutout there. Next piece that I want to do is put some text in. So I'm going to click on my text tool. And here, I don't need my exact shapes or my exact sizes. I could, but I want to first of all get my text in there. So we're going to type our name. We do not have a lot of font choices. So we are going to just pick one that we like. Again, let's look at our font. I probably need to change the height of this to be about 3. So that's the same height as our name tag. Right now I'm going to change the color of this so we can see it. I'll drag, whoops, I made a mistake, so I'm going to hit the undo. I'm going to drag this into here. And it looks like I can make my font or my text a little bit bigger. And we can see if we move around that it will be above that cutout, which is good. We want to be able to see it. We're almost done our name tag. The only thing we need to do here is a hole. So I'm going to go back up. I'm going to choose a different shape for my hole. Let's choose the polygon. And the polygon, I can say how many sides I want it to have. I can have 12 sides. I can have 4 sides. I'm going to go with 8 sides. And this shape is going to be a hole. So instead of being solid, we're going to make it a hole. Probably a good size for this, I think, would be 6 and 6. And I think now we can just drag this shape over to where we want the hole to be. And it looks like that's a good spot for it to be. It's going to be strong enough right here to be able to go through my keychain and onto one of my rings. Now I can highlight all of this. I can combine it or group it. And we'll know that the hole works if we actually see through it. Now remember, we lost the color of our name, but we can see that it will work because we can see it above that cutout that we had. We're really close to being done. You have all kinds of options here that you can do. You can use different name tags or different fonts. You can try different things. You could also try different shapes. You can use different holes. I could have my name be a hole. So if I wanted to make this a hole and combine it, let's see what that's going to look like. Well, that would work pretty well too, but the only thing that wouldn't work is that middle of that A. That would fall out because it's not connected to anything. But let's say we've got our name tag exactly the way we want, and we are ready to export it because we're almost done. And exporting is actually quite easy. We have a little button up here. We have to export to a certain file type so that the 3D printer knows what it is. We also will need to export this and attach it to an email, and then you'll need to email me this file so that I can print your name tags. So we're going to go to the export button. We want it to be what's called an STL file. So we're going to go on STL, and again, we've already got it named. Remember, we had it named up here at the top. That's the important piece too. That's why we do that first. Click on STL, whatever browser you're using. I'm going to show in folder, and I've got this name tag, and I would want to attach that to an email. And that is about all we need to know for how to use TinkerCAD. And you can use TinkerCAD to make much more intricate designs and complex designs, but we have a good basic knowledge of how to design shapes and objects for a 3D printer. Hope you guys had fun, and I look forward to getting your files so I can print them out.